Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today, we're taking a look at some of the most notorious places on Earth, the world's most dangerous prisons. These facilities are notorious for their extreme conditions and high levels of violence. We're talking overcrowding, disease, gang warfare, you name it. So we're going to try to get a glimpse inside these places, understand what life is like for the inmates, and maybe, just maybe, learn something about the human condition in the process. Our first stop takes us to South America, Venezuela, a country known for its vibrant culture and stunning landscapes, but also for its dark and troubled prison system. La Sabaneta, they call it, a name that sends shivers down the spine of anyone familiar with its reputation. And let me tell you, this place is the real deal. It's overcrowded, massively. The conditions are beyond what most of us can even imagine. I mean, we're talking thousands of inmates crammed into a space designed for a fraction of that. It's a human sardine can. Imagine, if you will, a sea of bodies packed together in the sweltering heat. The sheer number of people is overwhelming. The air thick with the smell of sweat, urine, and fear. It's a sensory assault that never lets up. Violence is a fact of life here. It's not a question of if, but when. Gangs rule the roost, and the guards, well, let's just say they've got their hands full. Often they're just trying to survive too. Drugs, weapons, it all finds its way inside. The black market thrives in these conditions. It's a recipe for disaster, and unsurprisingly, disasters happen all the time. Chaos is the norm. Riots, murders, you name it, the violence is relentless and unforgiving. In 1994, over 100 inmates were killed in a particularly gruesome riot. It was a bloodbath, hacked to death, some of them with makeshift weapons. The brutality is unimaginable. Basic amenities? Forget about it. The conditions are primitive at best. Food is scarce, clean water even more so. Disease runs rampant. It's a breeding ground for illness. Many inmates are forced to sleep on the floor, often in shifts, because there just isn't enough space. It's a constant struggle for a place to rest. It's a truly dehumanizing environment. The conditions strip away any sense of dignity. The lack of sanitation is just unbelievable. Filth is everywhere. I've seen footage, and frankly, it's hard to stomach. The reality is far worse than any horror movie. And the thing is, most of the violence, it's not even about escape. It's about survival. It's about making it through another day. It's about fighting for a scrap of food, a bit of space to sleep. Every inch is contested. It's a vicious cycle, you see. Violence begets violence. You go in for a minor offense, maybe even just suspected of something, and you come out hardened, brutalized. The system fails them. What does that say about the system, eh? Are we rehabilitating these men, or are we creating monsters? The answer seems clear. You know, I've met people who've survived La Sabaneta. Their stories are haunting. They're never quite the same. The trauma lingers. The experience, it leaves a mark, a scar that never fully heals. On the inside, you know, it's like a darkness that follows them around, a shadow that never leaves. I remember interviewing one former inmate. He told me about the constant fear, the way it ate away at him. The psychological toll is immense. He said he was never sure if he'd live to see another sunrise. Every day was a battle for survival. From the sweltering heat of Venezuela, we travel north, to the frozen wastelands of Siberia. The contrast couldn't be more stark, from the vibrant tropical landscapes to the desolate icy expanse. Here, on the banks of the Kazakh border, sits Black Dolphin Prison, a fortress of despair and isolation. It's named after a statue, you see, made by the inmates themselves. A symbol of hope, perhaps, but also a cruel reminder of their captivity. Ironic, isn't it? Because these dolphins, they can't escape. They are forever bound to this place, just like the men who crafted them. And neither can the men inside. The cells are small, the bars unyielding, and the air thick with a sense of hopelessness. This is Russia's most secure prison, home to the country's most dangerous criminals, serial killers, terrorists, the lot. Each one more dangerous than the last. They're kept in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, with only an hour to see the light of day, if that. The conditions here are brutal, even by Russian prison standards. The cold seeps into your bones, and the isolation gnaws at your sanity. Imagine, if you will, spending your days and nights in a tiny cell, barely big enough to lie down in. The walls closing in, the silence deafening, the only light a dim bulb, the only sound the clanging of bars and the muffled cries of your fellow inmates. Movement is tightly controlled, every step monitored. Inmates are kept under constant surveillance, and when they are moved, it's always in handcuffs bent over double, with guards watching their every move. A dehumanizing process. No talking is allowed during these movements. Silence is enforced with an iron fist. The prisoners shuffle along, their faces covered, eyes fixed on the ground. A parade of broken spirits. They call it the walking of the penguins, a grim, almost comical term for such a tragic reality. Black Dolphin is designed to break you, to strip away every ounce of defiance, every shred of hope, to strip you of your humanity and leave you a shell of your former self. A place where the mind is as much a prisoner as the body. It's a place where hope goes to die, where the future is as bleak as the present. But even here, in this bleak and unforgiving place, there are glimpses of humanity. Small acts of kindness, fleeting moments of connection. I remember reading about one inmate, a convicted murderer who spent his days painting. His art was his escape, his way of finding beauty in the darkness. He created these beautiful, intricate landscapes full of light and color. Each stroke of the brush a defiance against the gray walls that confined him, a stark contrast to the grim reality of his surroundings. A reminder that even in the darkest places, the human spirit can find a way to shine. Chapter 3. ADX Florence, Supermax, Isolation in the American West. We cross the globe now, to the United States, a country that prides itself on freedom and justice. But hidden away in the Colorado Rockies is a place that most Americans would rather forget, ADX Florence, also known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. This is a supermax prison designed to hold the worst of the worst, the most dangerous criminals in the US prison system. Terrorists, mob bosses, serial killers. Men considered so dangerous, so unpredictable, that they need to be kept in near total isolation. The inmates here spend 23 hours a day locked in their cells, concrete boxes smaller than the average parking space. There's a bed, a desk, a toilet, all concrete. A single window, a narrow slit in the wall, offers a glimpse of the sky, but not enough to see the mountains that surround them. Human contact is minimal. Meals are delivered through slots in the steel doors. Exercise is taken alone in a concrete yard, also caged. The psychological effects of this kind of isolation are devastating. Many inmates suffer from severe mental health problems, including depression, anxiety, and psychosis. Some lose the ability to communicate, others retreat into themselves, withdrawing into a world of their own. Is this justice? Is this rehabilitation? Or is it something far more sinister? The debate over supermax prisons is a complex one with no easy answers. Chapter 4, Carandiru, the Ghost of Massacres Past. Our journey takes us now to Brazil, a country known for its vibrant culture and beautiful beaches. But beneath this surface lies a darker reality, one that is evident in the country's overcrowded and violent prison system. Carandiru Penitentiary in Sao Paulo was once one of the largest prisons in Latin America, housing over 8,000 inmates at its peak. It was a place of unimaginable squalor and brutality, where violence was a daily occurrence. In 1992, the world watched in horror as a riot broke out at Carandiru, resulting in the deaths of 111 inmates. The massacre began with a dispute between two rival gangs, but it quickly escalated into a full-blown riot, with inmates taking over entire cell blocks. The police stormed the prison, and what followed was a bloodbath. Inmates were shot, hacked to death, or burned alive. The images of the massacre, broadcast around the world, shocked the conscience and exposed the brutal reality of the Brazilian prison system. Carandiru was closed in 2002, but its legacy lives on. It stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of prison overcrowding and neglect. The Carandiru massacre led to calls for reform of the Brazilian prison system, but progress has been slow. Prisons remain overcrowded and violent, and human rights abuses are still commonplace. Chapter 5, Bang Kwang, the Bangkok Hilton's harsh reality. Our final destination takes us to Southeast Asia, to the bustling metropolis of Bangkok, Thailand, a city known for its vibrant culture, delicious street food, and stunning temples. Now you might think of Thailand as a land of smiles, and it is. The people are warm and welcoming, and the festivals are a sight to behold. But it also has a dark side, one that is hidden behind the walls of Bang Kwang Central Prison. A place that starkly contrasts with the country's image of hospitality. They call it the Bangkok Hilton, ironically of course. There's no luxury here, only suffering and despair. Because let me tell you, there's nothing glamorous about this place. The corridors are dark and the environment is bleak. It's one of the most notorious prisons in Thailand, known for its harsh conditions and strict rules. A place where hope is a rare commodity. Life inside Bang Kwang is a constant struggle for survival. Every day is a battle against the oppressive conditions. The cells are cramped and overcrowded, the heat is stifling and disease is rampant. Inmates are packed like sardines with barely enough room to breathe. Inmates are subject to brutal punishments, including beatings and solitary confinement. The guards show no mercy, and the punishments are severe. One of the most notorious aspects of bangkwang is the use of shackles, a practice that dates back to ancient times. For the first 3 months of their sentence, all inmates are shackled, their legs bound together with heavy chains. These chains are a constant reminder of their captivity. Imagine that, being chained up like an animal, unable to move freely for months on end. The physical and psychological toll is immense. The food is meager, the sanitation is appalling, and medical care is practically non-existent. Inmates often suffer from malnutrition and untreated illnesses. It's a brutal existence. And many inmates don't survive their sentences. The mortality rate is alarmingly high, but even in this oppressive environment, the human spirit finds a way to endure. Inmates form a community, supporting each other through the darkest times. Inmates form close bonds with each other, sharing what little food and comfort they have. These bonds are a lifeline in a place devoid of hope. They find ways to pass the time, playing games, telling stories, and creating art. These small acts of creativity and camaraderie are a testament to their resilience. A call for humanity. Reflections on the world's toughest prisons. So, there you have it. A glimpse into some of the most dangerous and disturbing places on Earth. These prisons are a stark reminder of the harsh realities faced by inmates around the world, and the often brutal conditions in which they are forced to live. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. And next time you think about the justice system, spare a thought for those locked away, out of sight and often out of mind.